Okay. Hi, everybody here who's listening and watching. I'm Kelly Puente, a reporter with the Long Beach Post, and we're here with my friend Sam Hall today. And for lots of you in Long Beach know Sam, he's kind of like a longtime mover and shaker, behind the scenes guy in politics. And I'm never always like quite sure what you do, but you're always like doing stuff, and now you're working as the director of the Work Long Beach program with Pacific Gateway, which is a really important project right now for the workforce. But today we're here to talk about you, Sam, and so you actually had coronavirus, and it's shocking to me because you're the first person I knew who had it, and thank God you've recovered. Yeah, and so Sam's going to talk to us today a little bit about his experience and what it was like, and maybe what other people can expect. And again, Sam, thank you so much for doing this. I think it'll be helpful for people. So yeah, I guess we'll get started from the beginning. To me, you've always been like a really healthy person. You eat healthy. How old are you?
I wouldn't say always, but yeah, definitely for a long time now been just, trying to be healthy and, exercise regularly and eat healthy. And, typically, whenever flu season comes around, I never get anything. So, it's usually pretty easy. But this was very different.
Yeah. And when did you start experiencing symptoms, and what did it feel like? Like, what did it start out as?
Yeah. So it was like early, I guess, mid-March. And it started out just as like on a weekday, on a Friday, actually. It just started at work, just very minor cough. Didn't really think anything because things weren't in full swing by then, there wasn't like a big issue, or at least a big awareness. Or at least I didn't feel like that to me, to the point that I thought about it immediately. It was just like clearing my throat, so to speak. But then, like, as the hour came on, like, I was just feeling like, okay, wait a minute, this is definitely something, like I should go home. So that's essentially what I did. And from there, it just got worse.
So it started out like as a cough, like a dry cough is what they've described.
Yeah.
What about it felt different to you?
Just sort of like the intensity, like it wasn't like something that was just like it wasn't just like clearing your throat, it was something that just like required some effort to deal with, so
it was like a deep like chest cough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it just became very annoying pretty quickly.
And then so you went home, and then what happened after there? Like, how did it start progressing?
So I, like, that day started feeling really like tired, like body fatigue type stuff. Got like really exhausted, like sort of lost my appetite, didn't really start eating, or didn't really eat anything later that day. And then that night, just got like really intense chills, got really intense body fatigue, even more, to the point where it was just like sort of like almost like crippling, to the point where like you can't move, you don't want to do anything. And I just like sat with me for 3-4 days like that. I would get fevers here and there, but they weren't really like continuing. They would go away.
Were you taking your temperature? Like, what was your temperature?
Yeah, it was like really like 3 or 4 times did it really ever like go into like that, like over 100. So it was like 101, 10. It wasn't like a high fever, but it was just like enough to where it was like noticeable, like my body was in that state. And then like the chills were just like really pretty intense. It was like not much I could do to ever like really get rid of them.
And so then, so this is going on for about 3 days, you said? And
yeah, and then I started feeling better. And then
which they say is kind of a hallmark, like if people start, some people will start feeling better, and then it comes back like wham, and just
yeah, exactly.
That's what happened with you.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like kind of surprised because like the night before, like I had got my appetite back and like I was feeling better and I was like feeling like I'm beating this thing. And then the next morning just woke up and felt worse than I did the days before. So
Oh.
it really lasted like total like 2 weeks to where I didn't feel anything anymore from the time that I started.
So when did you decide to go? You said you went to urgent care in Long Beach
Yeah.
through Memorial Care. When did you decide that it was time for you to actually go to the urgent care?
It was really the night after, I think it was about 5 days after I had been like isolated. I just decided like, this is getting fairly intense. Like I need to know like what's going on. So I went in and it was pretty straightforward. They made me wait outside, waited in my car, and then went to a tent outside. The doctor had a conversation with me about all my, symptoms that I was having, and basically determined that it warranted me getting one. Waited a few minutes. They came back with a pipe cleaner and, did its
Stuck up your
thing.
nose?
And
Yeah.
yeah, it goes, yeah, right up the nose. And then I waited about 5 days and got results back. So
That's amazing that you were actually able to get a test, because I know that, obviously tests have been scarce. So it's lucky that you were able to do that. They had just determined that your symptoms were significant enough. You warranted that then?
Yeah, I mean, I was also surprised. I had this conversation with him and, essentially on this very topic and, about whether or not it warranted it. Essentially, yeah, he said that he was turning away other people earlier in the day, that they didn't have enough, severity in their symptoms. So he turned them away and told them to monitor it. And but with me, he felt it was enough and gave me the test.
Wow. And so it took 5 days to get the results.
Yeah.
Did they tell you that they thought you probably had it with all your symptoms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what did you do then after? So you went home, and how long did it take you to start feeling better?
Like the total time was about 2 weeks.
2 weeks, gosh.
Yeah.
And was this different for you compared to like how you've been sick before? I mean, you basically said this like knocked you on your ass.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
how is it different?
It just it doesn't feel like a normal flu, like at all. Like everybody who's walking around who's watching like has had the flu or a cold or something.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that. It feels like you just like lose control of like your like normal like self basically, because you don't eat anything, you don't move, you kind of just like in a pain position for an extended period of time.
Oh gosh.
And so I think I probably had it a little, I don't know. I mean, I know there's a spectrum of severity, that people have it, like some people have it less intense or asymptomatic. But I was just grateful that I never got to the point where, I was having difficulty, like, reaching for each breath, because that's when
Yeah, thank God.
it would get really intense and I would have had to gone into ICU or something, but thankfully did not have to do that.
So for you, it was just more the extreme fatigue and the feverish and like disoriented.
Yeah. Well, it was a lot of body pain, just like like really deep stomach pain, like not like, bowel issues or anything like that, but just like really, just a very dull, like pain.
Did you have any eye issues? Because they're coming out now saying that might be a weird symptom that people are seeing, like eye pain or redness.
I would have headaches, but I didn't attribute that to like my eyes or anything.
So for people like my mom, who it's like, it's just the flu, or it's what's the big deal? Some of the older people are like, it's the flu. You would say to people, this is not an ordinary flu.
No, for sure. I mean, I know I have friends who have coworkers that have died, and it's really intense. Like I fully believe like if I wasn't as healthy as I was before, then my body would have had a tougher time fighting it off,
Yeah.
frankly, so, I'm glad that, I was as healthy as I was before, because that definitely made a difference, I think.
And how old are you? You're in your, what are you, 42, 40? How do well, I'm trying
Are
to,
you kidding me, Kelly?
young, well, people, I'm trying to
I'm older
emphasize
than
that
you now,
young
right?
people are getting this and getting
I'm
sick.
older than you, Kelly.
Not that much. Well, I'm not saying my age, so. Well, and thankfully you've recovered now. And real quick, also, do you have any idea where you got this? Like, because you weren't
Oh, I
traveling,
have no idea.
or you didn't
I
have
have no
any
idea.
contact with people who were traveling?
No.
That's the weird thing. So you really have no clue.
Yeah, exactly.
That's scary.
Exactly. I will say it's also the other way that it's different is that, like after a normal like flu or whatever, you go back to doing things normally, living life like normal. And I pretty much for the most part have, but I have noticed that like just in my workouts, like it's a lot different. Like there's like a lasting impact to like what happened, with my lungs.
Oh,
So I feel
God.
like there is a need for me to like recondition them, and get them back into, certain health level.
Wow. So you're
Yeah.
definitely not feeling 100% then.
Yeah. Like there's zero like symptoms or anything. It's just like there's a lasting like impact on what it's done, for my cardiovascular.
And it's a little scary because I've read something saying people could have scar tissue on their lungs, or we don't know the lasting impact from this. So when did they tell you were able to come out of quarantine and you would be okay
It was after 72 hours of being completely like symptom free. So that was over 2 weeks ago now. So, that's essentially how long ago it was, I guess.
did it feel like you were coming out of like being in a abyss, or I mean, you're able to like be out and you're healthy now? I mean, can imagine what that.
Kelly is like waking up in a Twilight episode, Zone episode, right?
Well, I was saying on a brighter note, you're kind of like a superhero now because you can't get it again.
Oh, well, that part, yeah, that's cool.
We were joking on about like dating because you're newly single and I'm single, like dating in the coronavirus landscape, and I'm like, well, you should put that on your dating profile, like can't get coronavirus because I've already had it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no to that. I think I'm just gonna take this time to just focus on me for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So what would you want people to know about this, and maybe for people who aren't taking it seriously?
Yeah, like I think that it's
distancing.
definitely something that people should take seriously. It is something that can happen without, even with you trying to take every precaution. It's something that I think can happen. I mean, I'm generally a person who's very conscious about my health habits and washing my hands and not touching every surface known to man out there. So I'm generally not a person that's inclined to do those things. So the fact that I would like, like I'm not quite a germaphobe, but the fact that I would get it, is like, if I can get it, anybody can get it. Right. So that part to me is a little funny, but, or ironic rather.
And did you, we have some questions from readers. People were wondering if you like took anything or if they gave you any treatments at the time, or what were you doing to help yourself? Oh, the volume cut out a little bit. I think we're having some technical difficulties. One sec. Hold on, guys. We're having technical difficulties.
Hello?
Is that okay?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so we were asking about treatments, or did they give you anything, or what did you take? Did you take Tylenol, or?
They recommended I take Tylenol if I had, but like pain or anything. But I did take some like high dose vitamin C, and that was really helpful, I think. But other than that, there's just lots of liquid and rest, and there's not much else you can do. I did try and drink like protein meal replacement type shakes, like, just like protein workout type shakes, just so that I could get some type of like nutrition like going on. But that was the only thing that I could really do. Other than that, it's just a lot of rest and hanging in there. It is something that I think people, can recover from, obviously. I mean, there's lots of us that are doing that. So it's something you just have to stick through it and try not to expose yourself to other people in the process.
And you're saying, quite a few people who have it now, like coworkers or?
Actually, I don't really know that many other people have it. I know a couple people. I know one other coworker that has it, or had it rather. And then I have friends who have coworkers that have passed away from it. But personally, I've not known anybody that's passed away, thankfully.
Yeah, it's scary. My colleague Tim Grobady, his sister's in the hospital on a ventilator.
Oh my gosh.
And he wrote a column about it. But just as we start knowing more people, it's really hitting home. Like there was somebody port building and who works for the Port of Long Beach that was diagnosed with it. And it seems like it's starting to, because I mean, when you put out on Facebook that you had it, I was like, wow, that kind of hit home for me that, we're probably going to start knowing more people that have it.
Yeah. I mean, the numbers are supposed to be pretty high as far as what the total count is, right? I mean, the governor came out saying something like half of the population is going to get it.
Ugh.
Who knows if it'll get that high, but
so is it true then, because I was reading kind of conflicting studies, that so much we don't know about it, that once you get it, I guess you can't get it again because there were some studies saying possibly, but I would think once you have it, you have the immunity.
Honestly, that's part of the frustration that I'm having is just like all the misinformation that's out there. Like I get people forwarding me things like, hey, read this article. And, then 2 seconds later, somebody forwards me something that contradicts that last article, it's just like,
you should be gargling with lemon or vinegar or do this and that.
Yeah. I think from what I've gathered is that there's maybe 2 different strains of it out there. And one is more intense, and it's like the other one is more asymptomatic, and I think I got the more intense one. And so thankfully now I don't have to worry about getting that one. But who knows?
Yeah.
I'm still doing like all the things that I should be doing, taking precautions and washing my hands and,
definitely.
So.
But at least you can, you might have the antibodies now, and then they're talking about having studies where they may need to use antibodies from people that have already had it. Yeah,
it's actually something I'm looking into. So,
really, you would participate in something like that?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, if I have a chance to help, then why not, right?
Well, I still think you should put it on your dating profile if you can't catch coronavirus.
Okay, well now, thanks to you, Kelly, I think I'm going to have to close all of those.
Well, I told you I was joking. I went on Tinder and just to see what it was like out there. And there's guys that are literally putting pictures of thermometers like on their Tinder profiles with like healthy temperatures. Like, look at me. And guys, with barrels of toilet paper. And one guy actually had like the good toilet paper. It was like Charmin Ultra. And I was like,
see,
that guy can provide.
This is like when I would really challenge our civilization to really maintain certain standards. You know what I mean? Like,
I think we're not living up to that challenge in some ways.
Let's not make toilet paper like the thing that makes for.
Oh, that's luring me, especially if he has the good toilet paper. Yeah.
No, that's okay. At least you're honest about it.
Hey, Well, thank you, Sam, so much. We really appreciate you, coming out and putting yourself out there to talk about this and, just letting people know what it's like. That was helpful for me to hear, the experience. And it's scary, but for most of us, many of us, it's something we can get through, hopefully, thankfully. So yeah, we're just glad to have you here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like my big takeaways were just like still like really important to be healthy just day to day, because you want your body to be able to deal with whatever comes at it, and
Yeah.
who knows, like this is just a great example to show you like who knows like what your body is going to have to deal with. um so get it healthy, and then really just to be grateful, for like all these little things that we take for granted every day, like not being able to hug my kids for
Yeah.
like several weeks is crazy, like it's that's something that you don't want to go through. So but it is something I think that people will get through. We're going to come out of this. I think hopefully people just stay positive and be kind to each other and be compassionate with one another, and hopefully we'll come out on the other end of this thing a better country. Who knows?
Yeah. Hopefully. Well, thanks again, Sam, and look for Sam's going to be doing great things with the Work Long Beach project. So we're going to be doing more stories on that later when the city
Cool.
ramps that up. So
All
awesome.
right.
Thank you again. And we'll try to answer some more questions in the comments later. Great.
All right. Bye. Thanks, Kelly.
Bye.
Cheers.